Hello, my name is John Dickmeyer, Business Specialist of the Allen County Public Library. Today, my guests are Herb Flint of Flint & Associates Incorporated, Shane Grantham of Grantham Consulting, and Bob Norris of Norris Advanced Networking, and this is Speaking of Business. Welcome to Speaking of Business. I'm John Dickmeyer. Herb, what do you do for a living?
John, I'm the president and owner of Flint & Associates. We're a financial and consulting services firm here in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Shane?
I do computer consulting, repair, support for business and home computers.
And Bob?
Thank you, John. I am the president.
About Bob. Bob is heavily involved in a local group other than networking, and what group might that be?
Well, thank you, John. One of my passions is with Toastmasters International. My local club is the Bob Lyman Club, which meets on the second and fourth Mondays at Northcrest Pizza Hut. And Toastmasters is a group that helps you to stand up, speak up, and when to learn to shut up. And
we're going to talk a little bit about networking today, and the perspective of what happened in the last year in networking, where networking is gone and what changes each of you have. Let's get started here. Herb, you're relatively new in networking, aren't you? How long have you been in networking?
I've been relatively new to networking in the Fort Wayne market just since May of this year. 8 or 9 months now.
What's been your general experience with networking?
My general experience has been very good. Part of it has just been the people that I've been able to meet, as well as the different settings that some of these networking meetings are held, and how each of them have their own culture. And the atmosphere that's created as a result of that, which I believe is for several reasons. Personally, the venue, number one, that maybe the event is held in, and the number of people or the type of people that are in that particular group. And I've always been known as a people person. And so I really try to have a lot of fun in either of the groups that I might attend on a regular basis.
And Bob, you're a facilitator, and are things as crazy at Crazy Pins as we might be led to believe by the name?
Actually, Crazy Pins is a great location on Lima Road, and normally we have their conference room area, and we have some great service, and they even have food. It's a great venue. There's a lot of parking. And it allows the opportunity for people to stand up and do about a 1-minute infomercial, if you will, about themselves and what they do. And this is kind of the icebreaker, because the real meat and potatoes of it is when everyone stays afterwards, and then they go around one-on-one, shake hands, say hello, trade cards. And I stress to the people, don't just come 1 week and expect everyone to overwhelm you and say, I want to do business, or I want to meet you, I want to know you. You have to step forward and attend more than one meeting, whether it's at my group or another group, so the people get to know you, they get to know who you are. They meet people like Shane, they meet people like Herb, and they get to know that these people are who they say they are. Because be realistic, anyone can stand up and say, I do this, I do that, I am this person. But in this day and age, especially with what we see in the big business world, how do we really know until we get to know these people? So most of the time, and it's just, Herb said being a people person, it's been especially beneficial for him, and I agree, for me also. But it's also beneficial for the people that aren't people persons, because they have the opportunity to expand, to have people help expand them, spread their wings, get to know people, to practice their networking, their mingling skills, if you will.
Shane, you're a pro. You've been in networking longer, at least, than three of us here, or two of us here. Tell us a little bit about your experiences in networking.
Okay. I started my own business in 2003, and at that point I was mostly doing some mailings, cold calling. I think I cold called on maybe 200 businesses, and I was starting out slow, and then someone introduced me to networking at the New Haven Chamber of Commerce in August of 2005, and they had just started their first meeting a month beforehand. And once I saw that meeting, I realized this is for me, this is how I'm going to advertise myself, because I got to be with people just like Bob, yourself, and Herb here, and rub elbows with them, eat lunch with them, talk to them afterwards, and it's just blossomed after that. And now most of my business has come from the networking groups or referrals from those networking groups.
I think the interesting thing about Shane that we really need to mention is that Shane is branded in networking groups as the IT specialist. We have a lead-in, who are you going to call? And everyone in the group yells, Shane.
Shane.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it's amazing. And there are other folks who are branded too by the way that they perform and what they do and their demeanor, and it all works in with what they're trying to do in selling their product. And Bob is correct. You can't just go once and expect that people are going to know you and get comfortable with you.
Exactly. If I may interject, John, is that also with networking, for the people that aren't really familiar with networking, there are several different brands of what you could call networking out there. You know, the people that go into businesses, medium and small size to large size businesses, and teach people what I call coaching, interpersonal coaching skills. How do you get along? How do you do people skills? And those are always good. The networking we're most familiar with helps build that, but it also helps create an atmosphere of people that know each other. And then it's not so maybe those people that could be anywhere from 20 to 40 people or more that you're always doing business with, but who do they know? I mean, who does Herb know? Who does Shane know? Who do I know? I may not need someone's services or products that day in that meeting, but I get to know them. I know that they walk their talk. They do what they say they do. Therefore, if I need someone, know someone that needs to have a computer worked on, or I need someone that needs some help with financial assistance and advice, I can stand up and feel very comfortable with saying, talk to Shane, talk to Herb, or talk to John for information, or talk to whomever that I know, because every time we give a referral out, and everyone wants a referral, we put our reputation on the line. If that person does great, we're a hero. If not, we are a heel. So the best way with the networking is to get to know the people. Who do they really know what they're doing? Do they do what they say? And one of the nice things about networking groups, as you said, they will work the people that are really good. You get to know who they are. But they will also tend to weed out the people that come just for them and they're only there for them. After a while, you'll know, and the people will say, yeah, this one's good, this one, whatever. And it's what you make of it then with it. If you want to be a great person in a networking group, you have that opportunity. If you go just for yourself, don't be surprised if the networking group leaves you alone.
Herb? Well, the thing that I've learned about networking, and the biggest thing that I've had an appreciation for is I think you get out of what you give out. In other words, if you're willing to come into a group and be able to participate, be an active participant, not just about meeting the people, but being a connector, being a bridge builder. It was on one hand, and it shouldn't have been on the other hand, how surprising it was to me, and pleasantly so, that in some of these groups, when I showed up, there were people there that I already knew. And or because I already knew someone in a particular group setting, that I was then extended an invitation to another group setting. I'll never forget the challenge you gave me because when I went through this transition period from April to May and was really taking a look at streamlining my business better, and I had contacted the Small Business Development Center. I just met you actually at a networking meeting. Went to and was encouraged to talk to you. Went to at this networking meeting. Went to the SBDC and was told by the Small Business Development Center that one of my musts and them helping them was to go see John Dickmeyer as the business specialist at the Allen County Library. And I'll never forget the day that when I came in to meet with you, the first thing you asked me was, Herb, are you networking? And I said, no, John, I'm really not. And you said, you must and or need to get involved with networking. And the first event that you challenged me to attend was the Bob Norris Advanced Networking Group second anniversary party at Crazy Pins. And from then on, it was, here I had been at one group, but came to meet you, and then I met Bob, and then I started meeting these other people, and before I knew it, I had a group to go to on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of each week. And all of that happened simply because of relationship. A person that knew a person that either I knew or I didn't know, but the introduction, from, well, I'll tell you where it started for me. It started for me because I had a relationship with Wendy Cobb, who was one of the facilitators for the New Haven Fort Wayne Business Networking Group. And along with the SBDC, then that's how all this has happened. And so after 9 months, then that's how we've even ended up here today, was because of our relationship with each other. And the other part is that we've actually made honest efforts and attempts to really do business with and for one another. And I think that that's been, a big help when we think about each other in a given setting. Like I have associates in my organization, and they have said to me, I'm having problems with my laptop. And I'll say, have you talked to Shane? And in a couple of instances, they said, as a matter of fact, that's who I'm talking to. Well, that just reinforces all of that. And it becomes mutually beneficial for all of us.
Let's move aside a little bit. And Shane, from an IT point of view, what is the chief problem out there? What are you seeing clients about these days the most?
I'd say security issues with viruses, spyware, computers that aren't protected from having a security suite on their computer, things of that nature. And probably the second one would be using maybe email, the internet, things of that nature. Recovering data is another issue also.
You know, one thing that Shane does with his presentation to networking groups very frequently is he'll give the tip of the day. And I love the tip of the day because it's something that maybe I'm not focused on, but I think about it. And particularly these security issues. I mean, there are those of us out there that think we know everything about computers. And then suddenly we are slammed, spammed, and virused. And it isn't pretty, is it?
No, it's not. It's something you need to be careful of. Just be careful where you're going on the internet. I tend to tell people, try and work on your work computer, and if you're going to play on a different computer. Don't mix the two on the same computer. And be careful where you're visiting on the internet. Have good security software, and there's different options you can do with your computer to stay safer.
And, you know, it isn't that hard to do, and it isn't that expensive to get the kind of protection that you need to get. But particularly if you're using one of the newer Microsoft operating systems, it seems to me that those systems are particularly targeted by virus and spammers.
Yes, they are, and there are security functions within, like Vista, that you can turn on. There's Microsoft malicious software removal, the tool that you can have on your computer. There's also security suites that have the firewall built in, this spam blocker, instant messaging protection. There's virus protection, spyware protection, all in packages, and that's kind of what I push most of my clients to. You can buy separate virus protection, spyware protection from different companies, different firewall from another company, but it's just easier to have them all in one package, easier to manage. And there are some free tools out there also. And there's a lot of options out there for people.
This is all information that may have passed me by, except for the fact that, of course, I work at a library and have to do this stuff. But it's all things that we in business who are using a lot of internet need to be aware of, and particularly you new business folks need to be aware that the leading, or one of the leading areas, is computer theft, computer theft of information off your computer, or use of your computer in the wrong way, or spamming it, or whatever. And then the other area is identity theft. And we have to be aware of both of those. Bob, have you noticed real differences in networking over the last year?
I think in the last year networking has evolved. People that come in and do their businesses the same way they used to when they first started networking may find themselves standing a little differently aside from where they were. We need to change our presentations a little bit. We need to reinvent ourselves. Sometimes when things don't work the way we want them to, we need to step back and say, what is working, what's not, and what can I do to reinvent myself? For instance, with the groups, you find out which groups work for you. It'd be great to attend a group every day or 2 groups every day, because sometimes there are events that are able to do that with. But what you really need to find is what works for you, what works with you, and where you can practice even what you're doing in your groups. Because the beauty of the networking is that it's like a big family. You're welcomed, you're treated well, normally, and unless you cause a problem, and then people will tend to just leave you alone. But normally you're treated very well, you're made to feel very welcome, and you have an opportunity to hone your personal skills, your presentation skills. You get to know great people that attend. For instance, like with Shane, one of the things with Shane is he goes the extra mile from what a brick and mortar store would do. If you need him, you call him whenever. He can even remotely hook up to your computer in a very safe way that saves you time and saves you money. Herb is another one. He has lots of people he knows. There are a lot of great brick and mortar financial institutions out there, but you get to know the person, you get to know who they are, and they work together with you truly on looking for what's for your benefit, even if it doesn't bring them upfront dollars and cents to their group. And I think that's a big thing with networking. It has evolved where the relationship building has gone farther than just business building.
How have you noticed the quality of presentations evolving? And I know that's one of your areas, speech and the quality of presentations. What about that?
I think it's up to the people. I am willing to help. Other people are willing to help. And we will, with Toastmasters, we are learned to be better presenters and better leaders. And I have offered people, if you want to know what your presentation looks like by an outside person that's not involved, let me know. But generally, I think the presentations are becoming better because people want to communicate their messages better and they want to show better who they're doing. One person I know that started with networking a year or so ago, she could hardly stand up in front of the group, and now she's a pro.
And that's great. And you know, there are folks that become tongue-tied, and you know, those people that become tongue-tied, we're very forgiving, I think. I can think of a number of folks that we've been working with and have, I mean, they're not the best speakers in the world, but they're a whole lot better than they were when they started.
Absolutely.
And that is important.
I think that, John, that is a very important part of it, because I can remember, and I'm sure you can, where some of the networkers have gotten up and they've started to do their presentation and they froze. And they've been to the point where they were almost at tears. And then they would sit back and people would just say, that's all right, keep going, you're fine, you're doing well. And through the encouragement, they would then just kind of blossom like a flower opening up, and 2 or 3, 4 weeks later, a couple months later, you would never know this person had any stage fright at all.
Or I can think of at least one case where the person came to a group, didn't want to talk, and one of our good friends, Dan Surface, asked him questions and brought him out. And I thought, oh, what a marvelous technique. And managed to get the full presentation without it seeming as if it was a full presentation. One other thing that I think is interesting, job seekers. What about job seekers? How do we treat job seekers?
Well, if that, I will answer that under the presumption that because as a facilitator, we welcome job seekers. We also say, please make up a little business card. Make it a double-sided business card. Put your attributes on one side and put what you're looking for on the other. Resumes that are 8 by 11 roughly are great to hand out, but many times those get lost or they get filed away. If you have your resume on a business card, you can take it anywhere. You could be at the grocery store talking to someone, networking, and hand out your business card with your resume on it. And with the economy the way it is right now, until it gets really, really turned around, people need to make as many networking connections as possible because, again, it might not be the people at the group, but who do the people outside of the group know that these people from the group know that might link them up? We know several occasions where this has happened and people are very successful with it.
So at this point, do any of you have a last word? Herb?
Well, I think my last word to our listening audience is that we've talked about a number of subjects, but whether they're a business person or they're a job seeker, that socialization, social networking, business networking, whatever label that you want to put on it, is beneficial, and will be very helpful to the individual that's either looking to grow their business or is also, looking to find a new job or a place for business.
Shane?
I'd say the best thing to do is come as often as you can to whatever group you go to. Stay after if you can. And I put a lot of my meetings before or after these networking groups, which has really helped me to solidify my business relationships that way.
Don't forget the before and the after.
That's right.
My good friend Andy Zelt says that the most important part of the meeting is what transpires after you've heard the presentations. So don't forget that, those of you who are thinking of networking, that's important. Bob?
I would say all of those, plus I would add one more comment. If you are a networker or considering being a networker, bring a friend that could be networking. How can you help that person? If you have a client that you're working with already and looking to help expand your business and theirs, bring that client to a networking meeting and make yourself a hero, because there may be people they know and there may be 10 or 20 people they don't. Give yourself an opportunity to grow and give them an opportunity to grow.
With that, I think we've said the last word. Gentlemen, thank you for being on the show. My name is John Dickmeyer. For those of you who are networking, continue. For those of you who haven't considered business networking, this is John Dickmeyer speaking of business. Thank you.